quick video. I'm going to do this off the dome. Nothing has been rehearsed. So after driving an Infiniti Q70 short wheelbase versus an Infiniti M, this one is a hybrid. Yeah, this is a V8. I'll take that off. Minus the engine. Which one is better? On the outside, you can see the improvements that they made. One, you can see that the front changed a little bit, or a lot, depending on how you look at it. The grille, I think the Q70 wins on the grille game. The headlights, being that you have LEDs with daytime running lights, I think that could be a win over there. Look, this one is the sport model, so the look might be a little different. I think the base model looks rather plain. They do have the other one, the Aero package. This one here is more modern, I'd say, for sure, but some people feel like it looks so much like a Q50. I don't know, it's subjective at that point. Then HID headlights, LED headlights, sport model, so it's got the darker bezel. This one here, all of them look alike on the bezel. Then in the rear, you do have a few differences as well, just a few. So taillight, look at the taillight area, look at that versus that, right? Maybe a little more modern. Looking at the bumper cover, pretty plain back there. Sport, non-sport, all of them got the same rear bumper versus this one here. It's got a little more character, more lines. If you wanted to like darken sections of it, you do have well cut out lines. Then you do have the side mirrors. Something else people like about the modern ones is that you do have turn signals, LED turn signals on your side mirrors. Here you have that versus that's just a plain side mirror housing. Okay, now let's jump inside. So when these vehicles came out, pretty great interior, everything looks so good. Looks, I mean, for 2011, it was very futuristic, I'd say. Ignore the steering wheel. And I think for the most part, people really like it. This is it's a fully loaded version, sport model, so the seats are going to look a little different, but a lot of the inside is going to look similar to what I have here, because this one is fully loaded as well. I know some people get testy about fully loaded, but ignore the grammar here. This is the deluxe touring seat. Looks a lot better than the sport, I think. I honestly think it does. But generally, if you were to sit inside this vehicle, it feels very familiar. It looks actually, it is exactly the same like it was in 2011. This is a 2016, 17, 18, 19. Not many changes. It just changed the color offerings and things like that, but otherwise pretty much the same. Now, the biggest thing I'd say that is different about the interior is due to what is happening on the exterior. The exterior meaning the side mirror. I'll explain that in a bit. So here, when you come to this vehicle, I'm not going to start it. I'll just turn it on that way. And clock and everything's pretty much standard. When I'm put it in reverse, I do have a rear view camera, right? Cool. That is a good start. Now look at the center console. We'll come back in a bit. For the Q70, let's go to the status screen. When I put this in reverse, there's way more going on. Do you see that? Yeah, I've got 360-degree cameras. Due to numerous cameras, I do have the rear view camera. And then I have cameras bottom of the side mirror housings. And then I've got another camera here. Do you see that? There's another camera right there. So you've got 4 cameras, one at the front, one in the back, 2 on the sides. And those are the ones that give you that 360-degree view. So when it comes to parking, I don't have to do like the other vehicle and put it in reverse and try to figure out where the lines are. I actually have a button over here. This is a camera button, so that even when I'm not in reverse, I can just push this button and there you go, voila. I can still see my angles and play with it as need be, even wide on the rear. And that comes with more safety technology, reverse moving object detection and things like that. So that's a plus inside here. And in the M, as you can see, it's pretty standard in here. Pushing these are just navigation buttons. Now, one thing that the M beats the Q70 on is the climate control. So here you'll see I've got my auto, and then I've got trees. This one has forest air. When you go to climate, you can see your forest air stuff, which is pretty cool. I made a movie about the forest air system. So I'm not going to bore you guys with the details on that again, but that's one thing that the M have that the Q70s do not. No matter how loaded this is, all you get is that right there. And then it's an advanced climate control system, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't do what forest air can do. So that's one thing that the M will win over the Q70s. And I believe they stopped offering forest air in 2014. Might have been the last year they offered forest air, if I remember correctly. I'll have to verify that information. Now, while this is still on like this, one other thing I wanted to talk about was for sport models. I'd have to get a sport model to actually go underneath the sport model and look. But when they changed the names to Q70, when they got away from the M37 and M56 and M35 hybrid, the sport models they still get paddle shifters, get the seats. In 2013, actually, I think is when they started giving you darker headliners, which carried on to that for the sport models. But do you see that little light? Our favorite light to deal with. Four-wheel active steer. The Q70 sport models do not have four-wheel active steer anymore. So I think that's a win to this. And then something else is on audio. Let's talk about audio. So Bluetooth, CD. There you go. Did you see that? Let me turn the volume down. Maybe that's the way to do it. But I do have a music box. And music box was offered in 2011 and 12. And I believe that stopped even way before the Q70 came along. The music box, they stopped offering that in 2012, I believe, 2012. So 2013s and up do not have the music box. And let me turn this down now that we've learned. USB, disc after disc, Bluetooth audio. That's about it. So, and you do have the usual, you have USB in there for iPhones and stuff. That's what I use this for. But other than that, Q70 versus if it comes down to it, should you buy Q70 or should you buy an Infiniti M? I suppose it depends on what you care for, what matters to you. If you want something that looks modern, I think the Q70 looks more modern from the outside. The M looks nice, but like I've said in different videos, it is aged by the time. It's a nice car even by looking at it in today's standards, just like looking at an Infiniti Q45. They look really nice, but if you know Nissans, you know it's a different time. It doesn't have the angular lines and surfaces that modern vehicles do. So that is one of the differences. And I guess the other thing is that if you wanted to buy something newer, low mileage, you're more likely to find a Q70. Or maybe we should put it the other way. If you bought a Q70, you're more likely to get lower miles on it than the other one. More likely. Right now, of all my vehicles, I think my M56 is the lowest mileage. It's lower than the 2016 hybrid, lower than the 2015 Q70 long wheelbase. So, and maybe that's something else I could throw in. The long wheelbase was only offered to the Q70s. When the M was around, 2011, 12, 13, and even 2014, they changed the name, but it was still exactly the same car. You could never get the long wheelbase with those. It was just a short wheelbase, and that's what I have over here. Otherwise, looking at them from the side, they look very, very similar. Yeah, and I'm not talking about the sport versus non-sport wheels and things like that, because you can still get the same packages going on. Okay, I think that's about it. That's all I have with regards to this very impromptu video on Q70 versus M56, M37, M35 hybrid. I hope this makes sense a little bit in case you're ever curious, and depending on the features that you want on your vehicle. Okay? All the best.